Hey everyone, I'm Dan from JazzComposersPresent.com, an online space where composers, musicians, and listeners come together to celebrate the music we love. I'm joined today by Emilio Solla, Latin Grammy winning and Grammy nominated composer, arranger, pianist, and educator. Emilio is here to show us how to compose using fragments of pitch sets.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm excited to show this new commission that I just wrote a short ago for a clarinet quartet. Unfortunately, we don't have a real recording yet, but we're going to use some MIDI excerpts. And for this, I wanted to show you and discuss with you guys and colleagues and students how I approach this, because it was a suite that I decided to make it all about my country, which, as some of you might know, is Argentina. So I wanted to call it, I call it Suite del Gran Buenos Aires, which is the big Buenos Aires as a province, as a full, the city and the surroundings. So I thought, okay, I'm going to make the movements of the suite like about the different things that are typical that we do. We do, as you know, we do beef, we do football, which is that thing where you play with the foot, like, it's strange for me always how the football here is not play with it's play with the hands, but there we just played, it's not soccer, it's football, so for this tune, this is the third part of the suite, I believe, and I said, okay, it's football, we have 11 players, how about I create a melody with 11 tones? And so this got me into a territory which is not my normal thing, my normal scenario, which is I'm more of a tonal model, sometimes tonal post-modal composer, but I'm not so much into the pitch class set, kind of more like definitely 20th century kind of thing. Is not, how I feel music normally, but in this case, it threw me there because it was a motif of 11 notes. So I came up with this motif that we're going to hear now, using different 11 notes. So it's almost a row, it's almost like a 12-tone row, but there's one guy missing. And at the same time, it is like kind of a row, it's because I'm missing only one player. So let's check it out, and I want to discuss with you how I brought that motif and that melody, analyze the melody a little bit, and see how I brought it into smaller units. And so if we're talking of a pitch class set, then we can discuss how I did the subsets with that melody. Okay, so we have the melody here. You see, it's a very angular melody at the beginning. It just came out, like kind of a fast milonga, which is a tango kind of beat, which helped me create that kind of hectic and very, up-tempo-ish kind of thing that happens in a soccer game. And see, it's funny how the ideas present themselves in a way that without you thinking of them, sometimes they already kind of sketch or help you display the ideas that you have behind the music, or side to the music. In this case, I'm thinking of a soccer game. So look at the melody. Po-pi-pa-pa. That beginning is like the ball going up and down the field, the way we play that. And it ended up being a very angular melody. And so I decided to see, okay, what can I do now with this? So I decided that I would break this melody into smaller units. So if we have a set, then we call it subsets. And you see there, we have 3 subsets that I call subset 1, 2, and 3. And each of them have a very particular characteristic. The subset 1, as you see, pi, pi, pa, pa. So it has a couple of minor seconds and a tritone, very, kind of, harshy sounding, which is going to be very good for me for some things that I want to display. Then I have those minor thirds, pidum, parum, tiruriru, a very C-sharp minor kind of little thing, and then purira, a major second and a perfect fourth, perfect fifth. So it's kind of, again, helpful because turiram, pim, param, pam, parira, you can get into some kind of fanfare-ish thing that can be very interesting for kind of a march, supporting the theme and everything. So again, it's funny how ideas present themselves as interesting and giving us material that we can use. And then the rest is a little bit of an up there. And then I respond to that line with an inversion of that line. That's what you have on the second staff. So let's go to the slide 1, because I wanted to show you a little bit more of what happened and how I'm using this in the piece. So you see I'm starting with that P0, I call it prime, the prime form, prime 0, and then I'm responding with inversion number 4. And then as you see, and we're going to hear now, for the rest of the first part of the piece, all that's happening there comes from different uses of those subsets, the subset 1, that kind of, crunchy, full of minor second things. The subset 2 with the minor thirds, and then the subset 3 that have that kind of suspended sus2 or sus4 kind of feeling in fourth. So you see here in this slide how the whole presentation of the theme is I respond to that with a very kind of Stravinsky and a little bit thing with 3 clarinets. So by the way, I did this in concert, so that for anybody that wants to break it down later and take a look, it'll be easier to check on the piano, the voicings and everything. So it's concert score. And then you see here the clarinet 2 is da-di-da-da-di-da. It's all based on the subset 3. And then the clarinet 1 responds to that with the subset 3, and the harmony is also using subset 3 there. If we go to the next page, you will see now starting to develop these ideas a little bit. So there again, if you put the magnifying glass there, you will see a kind of a very counterpoint part where I'm using piram padam, those minor thirds of the subset 2, together with the theme that is on clarinet 1 on top. And then we go to the chords on subset 1, and again that subset 1 is so rich for me because in soccer we have these fights with the fans of one team with the fans of the other one. Is very typical in Argentina, and you've seen it probably in England. Sometimes it's hooligans. Sometimes not all in Argentina of us are hooligans, but there is a very passionate. The football is really a very important, very passionate thing that we really the two fan base are screaming at each other, not very nice way many times. And so that crunchy thing with the minor seconds and the augmented fourth allow me, when I use it vertically, as you will hear there and later, allows me to create like really harsh chords, dun, 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 like a real fan base screaming and playing the bass drum as they take to the soccer games. So yeah, on the next page, I think we have another page there. With this, like it's a little bit more of how I'm using, developing these ideas, and then we get into the part where I'm using the subset 1 that we're going to discuss later. So yeah, I know we are very short on time today, so let's just play that continuation with the video, and hopefully you'll get the idea of how I've been using the subset 3, the 2, and the 1 to create the piece. Okay, so hopefully that gave you an idea. And now it comes kind of the climax of that part. And for the climax, I wanted to work specifically on subset 1. So what I did is I cut that subset 1 on this page that we see here. You have the subset 1 there with the pitches. We call it in contemporary music from 0 to 11. So you have the numbers of the pitches there. You put them in normal form, which is kind of a compressed scale, like the shortest scale that you can, which is there on the second stuff, and then I move all that, transpose all that to 0. So I have those 3 notes, okay? Da di da da. With you see there the tritone I was talking about on the first and last note, and then those 2 minor seconds. So kind of a not very friendly kind of set. And then another thing that you want to do, you want to invert that set, because the inversion of any set of pitches gives you the same intervallic content, but the notes are going to be different. So that's what I did there, invert that normal form there, and that gave me another normal form. As you see, it's the same intervals, and I transpose that to 0. So now you have the 2 minor seconds at the beginning, and then the jump to the augmented fourth at the end. So as you see, this is what we call the prime form, because if you compare this with the other transposition to 0, this is the one that is more compressed to the left, the one that starts with the smaller intervals. You have da do di da you have the minor seconds at the beginning and then the thing. So we call this prime form. So I wanted now to have the theme harmonize every note of the theme harmonize with this subset 1. So for this, I created this other slide, which is the family of the 24 possibilities that you have with that motif. You see the 12 transpositions of the first normal form, and then the 12 transpositions of the inverted normal form, which are on the second part of the page. Okay, you have the prime 4 there somewhere, bar 20, I think. So you transpose it. Why? Because now I'm going to put, if we show the last slide, you will see now that I'm using in the stuff below, pam, pim, pam, pam, pim, pum, pam, pim, pam. You have the melody on top, and every note of that melody is going to be harmonized with that subset 1. So you have that crunchy, kind of minor ninths or minor seconds, and the tritone is going to be there, coarse and a vertical situation that is packed with those sonorities, note after note. So I have the C, I have the B, I have the F sharp, etc. So with my list that I did there, if we go back to the previous slide, we can see how, the C. Where is the C here in my list? So every time I see a C, I say, okay, the C can be the 4th note of this set, like in bar 2. You have another B in bar 3. You have another B in bar 4. You look for all the Cs and you try. You try that C on top and you find a sonority that is good. You use that sonority. And this is what I did here in the end. That sounds really, really, not very friendly there. And it's kind of gives the whole thing a nice climax. And so I wrote there for you you can check later. There you will have the bars of the subset transpositions. You have some numbers there. You can see how all of those scores is built on some of those situations. So again, it's not parallel, which is the interesting thing. I'm not giving them the same sonority, but I'm just picking a sonority that is always different, but it always has the same intervallic content. So maybe we can play it now and see what happens. Yeah, okay. I think this was maybe a little bit complex and a little bit long for a mini lesson. I hope Daniel doesn't get mad at me, but hope it's been helpful and interesting as a possibility of working out of the, our zone of comfort, which is always interesting to do.
Thanks for watching today's mini lesson. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Drop any questions, comments, or suggestions for future videos down below. To watch our full-length events and participate in live Q&As with our presenting artists, head to jazzcomposerspresent.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.